Okay, folks, let's move this around. There we go. Let's try this angle. It's a little bit closer, I think. I don't think. I know it's definitely closer. All right. However, I'm not sure why I'm getting this kind of a display here. Let me get out of this. I need to be able to see the comments if there's any, and I'm not able to do that on this screen here. Let's see. Let's go here. There we go. All right. Perfect. All right, so we've got our lowrider man. We've got our lowrider here that we put some parts on yesterday, and we just need to glue said parts. Well, we did that. We just need to prime them. What's up, Ben? What's up, my Benness? How are you? Yeah, I got some stuff done even though nobody was here. Mornings seem to work better for everybody. There seem to be a lot more folks on here. Although I've had some evenings that have been chock full of folks. I don't think I'm going to put this on here. Well, I don't know. I don't know. It might actually look all right. I'll tell you what. I'm going to go ahead and paint and primer this separately. And if it works, we'll put it on here. If not, we'll save it for something else. Because I think I've got more of this stuff coming. We've got several orders coming in of different things. More cars that I won for literally $1.06. And they weren't trash cars. They looked like they were, pretty decent. And we got that. We got more spare parts coming because we need machine guns. And I think that's it. I don't know. So super cheap stuff. This hobby is extra cheap. So let's prime this thing black. The bits. Got a bunch of plastic Perry, Spanish, and French Napoleonics. So I'm building up the Siesta Boys at the moment. Well, I'll be honest with you. I don't really care for my ancestors once they got a French king. It's just the bourbon span, and it might be because I don't really like the uniform styles of that. And let's be honest, the Spanish after the 1700 really fucking sucked. Not even 1700, more like 1720 or whatever. They actually had one king in it that was, I guess, pretty decent. But yeah, no, not really a fan of It'd be like being a fan of the British Navy now. What Navy? Yeah, those Spanish guerrillas that really gave Napoleon a really hard time. They dressed like that's not just that not really a fan of that. That just looks ridiculous. And if I want to see guerrilla warfare, I want to see a couple of silverbacks going at it. You know what I mean? I thought about that one time. You can make a game with just like animals fighting. Not even fantasy animals, but just like, real animals. We used to have this recurring conversation with certain people. Like, if you had like a gorilla, would a gorilla be able to take out a lion and stuff like that? And, these, not that we want to see animals fighting, but hypothetical situations here. I came to the conclusion, pretty much, if you fuck with a gorilla, you're going to have a bad day. You basically you're messing with a full grown gorilla, and you're another animal. Um, you're not going to enjoy it. It's not going to be a fun experience for you. Except something like an elephant. An elephant could just shrug that away, like, is there somebody here? Gorilla's trying to, like, get an elephant in a headlock. An elephant's just like, is there someone at the door? Other than that, it's going to make everybody else's life miserable. Hippo too. Nobody can fuck with a hippo. But I did go to several stores yesterday and picked up some items and kept the receipts. I'm fully expecting to return some of them. But I know from a fact, if you don't pick up things when you see them, when you go back for them, they're no longer there. So, um, anyhow, happy Sunday. One of my least favorite days of the week. Why? You have it off? Yeah, but I'm worried if I've had enough fun. If I'm going to make good use of this. Oh my God, this thing is pointy. I might actually have to sand this down. Well, let's not do that yet. Man, this thing is pointy. We have a little hatch up here. Not really a hatch, it's more like a access point. Oh, you need to get out? Okay, well, you got to go to the outside of the vehicle and unbolt everything, and then we can let you out that side escape hatch. Look, they're criminals. You don't want that. You don't want the guy out on the loose. You don't want a guy out on the loose. Factoring in the gas costs, it's probably easier just hand them out to your needy kids nearby. What are you talking about? Handing what out to needy kids? I don't know. Cars? I don't know. I did. Well, some people just go driving around for no reason. Um, I kind of stayed in one area. I didn't cross town. So, I mean, I did went into town, and then I went like 3 or 4 places I don't normally go to. And I found out yesterday why I don't normally go to them. They're in the sketchier part of town. And you know what I'm talking about. If you live in a larger town, it's a part of town where you just go there and you just feel like, man, this is run down, or this is more like, it's not that it's run down. It's like this area of town wasn't like this before. There you go. Including going into a store that I've never been in before and will never go into again. That was a Goodwill store. People keep telling me, oh, there's all kinds of good stuff at a Goodwill store. Well, after having to park about a block away because I wasn't going to park in a spot where somebody was going to ding my door because it was really tight, there wasn't a damn thing there. I mean, that was depressing. Instead of taking the cars back to get, yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're well. I mean, unless I'm back in that same store, you know. Yeah, no, you're right. Um, I don't know how people feel about it. I don't really care. We all have our own opinions, and we're all entitled to them. I like buying things through Amazon because if you have to return something, you go to one place to return everything. Which in our case is you go to the UPS store and like they take care of it. Not okay. We got to go to this store for that. We got to go to this store for the other thing. We got to go to this store for the other thing. We got to go. It's almost like time is more important than the gas because I'm not driving that. I don't live in a place like, South Florida or something like that where you just drive forever, forever, forever and get in a big traffic jam. I'd probably just likely, like instead of returning them, well, we'll just make wrecks out of them. Well, I really don't want to make wrecks out of good vehicles. There's even one vehicle that I made a mistake and bought two of. I didn't do it at the same time. That would be stupid. Um, but I don't even want to make a wreck out of one of them. I want to repaint it. It's a cool vehicle. What I really need to do is I need to make some sheets for these, but that's just not, I'm not a huge fan of that. Maybe I'll do that when I'm tired of building some of these cars. Right now, I got the oomph to do this. Do they have Hot Wheels in England? I'm sorry, Britain? Sorry, the United Kingdom. Sorry, Britannia. Of all those, I like Britannia the best. My least favorite one of those terms, and I'm not trying to knock any of you people, I don't like England. And the reason I don't like England is who are these Engs? And second of all, the England flag is a little lame. No, it's a lot lame. For a country with such rich history, you guys can do a lot better than a freaking red cross on a white background. Come on, man. Use the England soccer team flag. That flag is freaking awesome. The white one with the blue lions? That's a great flag. I mean, the Welsh flag is good. The Scottish flag is good, especially the old Scottish flag with a lion. Northern Ireland have a flag? If they do, it's probably lame. We do. That makes me wonder, do they need regional exclusive versions of the cars? I don't know. I mean, these people are already thieves already. Why would you need a Welsh team? Hey, I just repeat what I've heard. I've met one Welsh person, and he's awesome and definitely not a thief. He's just a ringleader. I don't know what it is. It's just what I hear. I love it when you guys fight amongst each other. And to us, you're just, the same folks. Regionally exclusive. That's just one of those terms it just kind of like puts me into like, oh, that's right, we're not in the 20th century anymore. That exclusive word terminologies now that people like to use. Misgendering. There's a whole list of them. I want to go back to the 20th century, not the early 20th century. No, that's there's some bad stuff. There's some bad stuff a coming. You don't own sheep, so you wouldn't see a Welsh thief. No, I don't own sheep. I can't say I would raise any animals for food or fornication. I don't believe I would. Mitch, however, has chickens. Do that with whatever you want, with that information. But he is a chicken farmer now. Oh, man. Hell, I don't even have any pets. I'm like the last person to be like raising sheep. And I do, I live in a semi-country area, and I do some semi-country driving to and from the city, and I see, herds of animals that are, that people have. I don't know that anybody has sheep. There's one guy that had a crap ton of goats, like a lot. The guy had like a goat fetish. He had this piece of property that was the road went right by it, and it was like a little hill, and you couldn't see the rest of the property. Like you could see like maybe like the frontage of his property, maybe 100 feet in, and after 100 feet, it climbed, and it was like a hill, obviously. It climbed and then it dipped, and you couldn't see anything past that 100 feet because it was lower than that hill crest line. And you'd go by there wouldn't be any goats. And you'd go back another time, and all the goats were on this side of the crest line. I mean, there's literally 300 of them, you know. And goats have, well, they stink, but they're cool looking, as you're driving by, 80 kilometers per hour, you know. And but yeah, that's a lot of goats. That's a lot of goats. But I like seeing those animals. But I don't know that I could raise them and like yummy. I just like vegetables and bread and olive oil too much. I'm glad somebody else does it though, because some of them are yummy. But pigs are yummy. Pig stuff is yummy. Yeah, this thing is sharp as hell, man. So what'd you do to deserve this? Are there any Mexicans in Britain? Listen, like this is probably like something from another planet or whatever. What is this Mexican lowrider thing you speak of? Like it's like an anomaly or something. This is like a California thing. There are not even any Mexican lowriders here. Should tell Marcus he needs to rebrand his coffee shop as a Mexican lowrider themed coffee shop. I mean, it is in California, but he'd have to come on here to be able to tell him that. Yeah, see, I like the fact that I already glued it. It's kind of a pain that I have to get around things to prime it, but it's also a pain to get everything painted. They have to scrape paint off to be able to glue it on. So like each thing has its downside. So regional teams. I don't know. I don't know that we have like an Alabama team or a Kentucky team, but definitely rednecks and Yankees. Yeah, this is freaking painful. Oh, your fingers are too gentle. I said, well, I don't stick them in barbed wire as practice for this. The Siesta Boys. Boy, I don't know. I do not have that in my DNA. I don't know what happened when we crossed the Atlantic, but that got erased. Like, who the hell wants to go to work twice each day? that's terrible. That's a terrible idea. Who the hell wants to wait until 9 o'clock at night to eat dinner? Screw that, man. 5 p.m., baby. And then, having been to Spain, not every place closes for a siesta. So you could be like, oh man, why do you like living in Spain? Because I can take a siesta whenever I want. And then you get a job at a place that doesn't shut down for a siesta. Like, son of a bitch. Now you're getting disenfranchised. There's another one of them words. Disenfranchised. Well, I don't know. Are you paying the franchise fee for that? I don't know that you can get disenfranchised if you didn't pay this franchising. You come up with some other terminology. I was talking to one of my daughter's friends here the other day who's staying with us for a couple days, one of her friends from college. And I was saying, yeah, there's some of these words that I don't like. And I couldn't remember one of them, and none of them they weren't necessarily like modernisms. They're not 21st century things, but I really need to write some of these things down that I don't really care for. Like bespoke. I don't like that bespoke thing. Bespoke sounds like you're not speaking correctly. How about like call it custom? Because that's like what it is. Bespoke. Gandy dancer. That's another word. You don't come across a Gandy dancer very often. I don't like Gandy dancer. Actually, several of the words I don't like are Old West type words. Like, so I'm kind of on the fence about saloon. But the one of the words I don't like, and I don't remember which one it is definitely an Old West sounding name. And it just goes with that Old West looking font in my head. So, like, I don't like that Old West looking font. Something like playbill. It's not playbill, but it's words that are like that. I meant to do Hot Wheels have cars that they only sell in, say, South America. I don't know that they do. I don't. That's a good question. I don't know. I'm disappointed that Hot Wheels and Matchbox are owned by the same company. That's going to be our downfall. Everything being one fucking company. But I thought government was supposed to be out and get and stick their nose into keeping, you know, the public from not having any choices. But I guess they don't do that. They can be paid off. Oh, I like competition. It makes everybody better. It gives the consumer options. I don't know that they make any specific. There's definitely companies that their things are easier to find in other places. Like, for instance, some of you guys know about Majorette, and Majorette used to be a French company. I don't know if it still is, and they make cars as well. I did find some in a store I went to, and I don't remember them being any fancier than Hot Wheels or Matchbox cars when I was a kid. The fanciest ones that I remember having was Hot Wheels, and I didn't have a ton of cars because I didn't know about this game. If I knew about something like this when I was like, I don't know, 12, 13, 14, yeah, I'd be all up in this stuff. Um, but we had Hot Wheels, we had Matchbox, we had Majorette, we had Tomica. Tomica is a Japanese one that had the doors almost always opened. And the tires were more normal tire shape instead of like basically being fat racing slicks. A lot of the Matchbox end up being almost like rugged all-terrain tires. Not always, but frequently. And the Matchbox ones are almost, I mean, and the Hot Wheels ones are almost always like fat racing slicks. I'm not a tire Nazi about things.
I don't go out of my way to replace tires on these vehicles. They look plenty fine the way they are. They make separate tire sets. A set of 4 tires cost twice as much as a vehicle. So, like, who cares? You know, at that point, I might as well just buy vehicles that are $1, look at their tires only, trash the bodies, use them as wrecks, and then keep the tires, and I'm ahead of the game. But I don't need more stuff, even though I keep getting more stuff. I don't need more stuff. But anyhow, I don't want a system where I'm like going through a pile of like tires and spending 2 hours trying to find the right tire. That's more trouble than it's worth. And again, this has got to be something that I particularly find interesting, because the reality is the people that I'm playing with, they don't really care. They don't care about how crafty I came up with the name of it or how it's designed around a certain theme. They just want to roll dice and move them around. The creative shit, that's for me. So if I don't really care about tires, and I really don't, they're different enough. If I see something that really is out of place, I might do something different about it, but it doesn't bother me. I'm just going to keep on going. They make these. I stumbled across these sets of lowrider inserts is the best way to describe them, and they sold them on eBay. They're relatively inexpensive, but still, by the time you buy some, it's like you can buy like for $5. I think you can get a set, and it's basically something you can glue here on the two sides, and they have like a pin for the tire to go in, but it's like made out of resin or something like that, and that just you can hop them up and do all the crazy kind of stuff that they do. It'd be cool to have one or two of those, but I'm fine with these vehicles being in a non-ridiculous set of I would only make these hoppers, you know. Let's just say it's easier for one company to control one company than many. Or should I say manipulate from the shadows? Yeah. Isn't that the truth? I mean, in the last 10 years, my attitude about it has definitely done a 180. You know, it's definitely doing a 180. So, yeah, I don't like, I didn't think corporations was a filthy word. But then I didn't realize people that ran some of these things basically have no moral compass. Which company? Yes. Regional representation. If we did that something for the United States, some of you foreigners, it'd be interesting to think what you foreigners think of our regional areas, because it's probably not what they really are. Just like the same way I don't have a clue I don't have no clue what goes on in some of those places over in other zones. So the girls got home and they're like, "Hey, we want to watch some comedy." I'm like, "All right, well, what do you want to see?" And they said, "Yeah, that Jimmy guy, that Jimmy guy, Jimmy guy. Who is it?" They wanted to see Jimmy Carr, which I think a lot of his stuff is really, really funny. Um, but he did some joke. What was it? Are there any Australians there aren't any Australians here. And a couple people were shouted out, and he goes, "Well, welcome back. I see you did the time." Just after a long time, because that's the kind of shit I like. That's the kind of jokes that I like. I like the regional slash geographically uh, themed jokes. Oh man. Okay, so I think we got all this green bastard done. Now let's remove this. Flip it. Flip it. I'm here to flip it. But I did pick up a couple of vehicles that I'm not going to send back because they're going to be part of my Cruel Britannia team. That definitely needs more vehicles for it. Definitely needs more vehicles for it. Okay, we'll see how this looks when we're done. Now this is the part that I don't like about this, because I'm at a standstill. Like, I can't do anything else with this thing. Nothing else can be done. Good morning. How's it going, Hoffman? You meant the government. Is the government really in control, or is it just kind of power-hungry incompetence? I'm thinking the government is more power-hungry incompetence than like manipulative evil. You know, and I have that attitude because I've called the government before, and I see the people that you get. I've had conversations with people that you get on the phone that work for said government. You know, they have a negative IQ. A negative IQ is anybody you talk to that makes you dumber. It's like, oh my God, my brain's drizzling out of my brain. My brain is drizzling out of my head after talking to that person. How goes it, gang? What up, senor? We're up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Working on the 8th one. And then we have the fajita truck. I thought I was going to make this guy a Mexican one, but I don't think I will. He's got a comic book character. It's got the Nerd Burglar Bastards written all over it. Scorpion, Marvel. I never even heard about the Scorpion. I had to look it up. He's some Spider-Man nemesis. You know, Spider-Man wears a stretch suit. His nemesis should be like the freaking dryer. It's like, oh man, somebody put my suit in the dryer and I'm not going to fit in it. There's your nemesis. You know? All right, we have the fajita truck. We have what we're calling so far the Chapulín Chimuelo. That's the toothless grasshopper. You know, because it's grasshopper colored, and he's got a tooth missing. It's like some lucha libre guy. We got this guy that we bought yesterday. We're definitely keeping him. This is going to be El Guapo, pretty boy. And if you get a look at him, he's not so pretty. I wanted to get another lowrider that I saw, and that's what I was talking about. You see something, get it. because then it's not available. It's actually surprising how few lowriders they make. They make a lot of them, but they make a lot of them in the same paint scheme. I mean, different paint schemes, same body, different paint schemes. You know, 3 of these are the same body. They don't look like it because they're different enough from each other, but all the Impalas are all the same car. They're distinctly different the way they're painted. And, you know, it's a body style that I actually think looks pretty darn good. I mean, I wouldn't drive one of those things. I don't know if I'm strong enough to open one of those doors. I've been in one of those cars before. It's a long time ago, and it was it's a heavy fucking door. It's a heavy door. That door's like a weapon. Weaponized door. Actually, I do know what I can do. I can do the black lining on this thing. I can do the black lining on the green. So, yeah, the fajita, I have no idea what the hell the fajita truck is going to be. I thought about that one making it the butcher, but I feel like the butcher needs to be a vehicle that's just, it doesn't have really any graphics on it. It's just like, you know, industrial white or gray or something like that with blood splattering, and we're going to have saw blades on the front of it. That's going to be the butcher. El carnicero. Anyways. The British will get the Shropshire Slasher. That'll be their butcher mobile. Be some kind of van or something like that. White panel van or something. Blood splattering on it, like it's on this from some scene in the movie Saw. Which one exactly? All of them. All right, let's get the El Blanco out here, also known as dark tone. And a brush that's really thin. Nope. That's not going to do it. How about this one? You got any lowriders in San Antonio out there? It's like a California thing. Do the Mexicans in Texas use lowriders? I think it's like a Southern Cal type thing. Now, if I want to add some Floridian Mexican twang to it, I would take a school bus, cut the top of it off of it, fill it full of watermelons, and that would be, you know, that'd be one of the trucks. And it could just drop watermelons on people, which, you know, would be a problem. That'd be a problem if somebody's dropping, you know, 400 head of watermelons on you, you know. But yeah, you see those a lot. You see a school bus that's literally just has the top cut out of it. And it might have, yeah, it has a top over like the cab where the guy's driving, where Jose's driving, you know, but those you see those around here. And it's like chock full of watermelons. You see them from time to time. What is popular here is big trucks. Hello, my friend. Greetings from France. Right now, where snow is falling on your garden. Oh, that sounds pretty cool. Did I pick up a French vehicle yesterday? I was going to pick up 3 of them, and nothing were just. No, I actually saw 4 vehicles that were French, and none of them were distinctly French. Now, you have to remember, it's what I think is distinctly French. It's what people in the United States would find distinctly French, and none of them just, like, spoke to me. I have a tiny little Renault, I'm going to call it a Clio. It might actually not be a Clio, but it's a tiny little, like, 2-person casket. It's the best way to describe it. I'm going to use that one. I really need to find a Le Car. I mean, that's really a classic French vehicle. But did I already do this? I may have done some of it, but it didn't stand out that much. Let's just go ahead and... Oh, we got the whole back to do. Well, color me silly. Let's go ahead and do that before we have to go. Okay, this primer is this one here. So what they had is they had some kind of SUV. I want to say it was a Renault. Now that I think about that little vehicle I might have, it might actually be a Citroen. They had a Peugeot. Oh, Peugeot's not French. Yeah, it is. I'm losing my fucking mind. I just had a senior moment. The one that has the little lion, is that French? Well, what's the second Swedish one? Peugeot's got to be French. It's a French word, for God's sakes. Whatever the hell it means. Anyway, it was like a Peugeot race car. Looked like something off Le Mans or something like that. They had the little SUV. They had a delivery van. But it had some kind of service that was not like in French service. It was like an American pest control company or something like that. So like, it just didn't look right. And the little tiny little vehicle I have. So I'll keep looking. I bet Majorette makes a lot of French vehicles. It would make sense. I mean, assuming that Majorette still is French. It may not be. It probably sold to the Chinese like everybody else. You see if popular here's Saab. Okay, Saab's the other one. That's right. Sorry, I was losing my mind. Senior moment. Well, sometimes it's hard to remember things that you don't use. Like I used to know like all the capitals of the world, of all the countries. Okay. And then the 1990s hit. And then all these countries decided to break away from the Soviet Union. Right. And then I don't know what some of their capitals are. And then, you got certain countries like, it's Congo. No, it's Democratic Republic Congo. No, it's Zaire. No, it's Congo again. No, it's a different. I'm like, I can't keep track of that. And those islands that the Germans took over, that the Japanese then took over from them, that then they got liberated from the Japanese, and who knows what countries they are now. I'm not clear with some of those, but I used to know them all. And it's like stuff that, you just can't remember anymore because you just don't really use them. Like how often do you have to recall the capital of Madagascar? Like, I don't ever think about that. I haven't thought about that in like 16 years, 20 years, maybe. How are you supposed to remember that? I love what you do. I don't have the patience. Yes, you do. You probably have the patience for something else. That's why I watch you do it. You're welcome. I'm sure you have patience for something else. Like, I don't know. I don't have the patience to cook. I don't understand how people can cook. Go through all the patience of getting all the ingredients, of getting everything, waiting and cook, multitasking while it's happening, and then spending 2.5 minutes eating it, and then 37 minutes cleaning up. I don't have the patience for that. I don't have the patience for it. I have the patience for this. Yes, this takes a long time. It is a steady progression. And when you're done, you don't swallow it. Like it's still there. You still can use it another day. You can, you have things to build upon it. So I have the patience for this. And and it's satisfaction when you're done. You feel better. If I felt worse after I did this, yeah, that wouldn't be the right thing. All right, I may need to scooch this over a little bit. Yeah, I actually thought this was the Hulk on here, but it isn't. It's just some gold tooth. Mexican version of Mike Tyson. What would that be? I don't know, but he talks funny. He's a hell of a lot shorter. Mike Tyson isn't a very tall dude, is he? He's like 5'9" or something like that. Which is, average. I think that's actually the US average is 5'9". I knew I'd be above average in something. Mike Tyson is one of those people I don't really keep up with current events or, trends or famous people or anything like that. But, there's people out there that are just known for being famous. I'm going to say for all the wrong reasons, but I mean, just like, they do things that your dad wouldn't think you should be proud of doing them, kind of thing, I never understood people like that. I never understood people that are like, I'm not a famous person follower. Like, I don't care about famous people. Right? Some people just want to get reputations for be known just to be known, regardless of whether or not it's for a reasonable cause or something. Publicity stunts and things like that. Kardashian crap, Paris Hilton, people like that are just like, I want people to know my name. Well, what if it's for the wrong reason, I guess they don't care. Be like, I don't want to be known for like painting things shittily. It reminds me the guy on TV saying he was by a lot of things, but lingual isn't one of them. Followed quickly by, I didn't mean that, did I? Pauly Shore. God, I couldn't stand Pauly Shore. Man, you dug that one out of nowhere, man. Good job. Never liked Pauly Shore. And I'm not one of these people like, oh man, well these famous people, man, they got together with some people that you'd love to get together with. Pauly Shore, didn't he end up like dating like, I don't know, I think it was briefly. I don't know why I know this. The freaking super hot chick from that Tiffany Thiessen. Oh my God, that chick was gorgeous. Yeah, I don't want, like a dude, like, dude, like, yeah, I don't, that whole stoner thing, I can't think of an actor that does stoner stuff I think I could probably, of all the stoner type people, the one that I like the most, or the one that I dislike the least, is probably Jeff Bridges. I like Jeff Bridges. But yeah, the stoner people that just doesn't, just doesn't appeal to me. Anybody who's stonerish like that, like, I'm out. Yeah, Pauly Shore, man, good one. Good one. Total goof. Yeah. Man, he disappeared. He disappeared off the earth. Yeah. Pauly Shore, now you're kicking it in like early 90s stuff, stuff like Jenny McCarthy. Man, she was like, that chick was everywhere. Didn't do anything for him. He just. Anna Nicole Smith. Anna Nicole Smith and the other people that remind me of Anna Nicole Smith. What's this lady that was supposedly dating Liam Neeson? Pamela Anderson. Pamela Anderson never did anything for me. And man, Man, Tommy Lee did a number on her. I mean, I expect rock stars to do stupid shit, and just like be out of control, right? Just look at them. But everybody else, man, like, he wants to do a Richard Simmons biopic. Wow. I could see the similar, when you have hair like that, you got to do something with it. There's not so many different things you could do. Pauly Shore hair, Richard Simmons. What's his name? The guy who's the lead singer to the Scorpions. He's got hair like that too. What's his name? Klaus Meine? Is that what his name is? Oh, Klaus. Yeah, he's got that poor. Yeah. Pamela Anderson. Yeah, I never understood the bimbo. I never understood the bimbo attraction. I don't understand it. I don't get it. I like women that are smart. It's freaking hot. I mean, you don't want them to be extra nerd burglary, but you know what I mean. You know. What else from the early 90s? Um, yeah. All that MTV stuff where there was actually like videos on MTV. I watched, I was like 19, 20, 21, 22 years old, you know? Now it's like I heard something the other day, like, MTV is finally getting away with not having any videos. I'm like, I didn't think MTV had videos on MTV for like 30 years. I mean, guess it must have been on other MTV channels, which I didn't even know that there were. Yeah, people that were just notorious for just doing stunts. Like, come on, man, have some self-respect. It's different if you do it in a movie. Um, we were flipping around stuff last night, and one thing that I showed my daughter, who's 20, a clip of was some Chris Farley stuff. And Chris Farley, there's no wonder he died of, was it cocaine overdose or something like that? He had too much energy for his body, that's for sure. And man, he did some freaking high energy. Uh, what do you call that stuff? We like physical comedy. Some physical comedy is really, really funny. Um, if it's done right. I don't like the whole Pauly Shore thing because he's like a stoner. I don't think he did like physical comedy, but anything involves physical comedy, our family really likes it. Not in every instance, but it's frequently like, something that's interesting. So here's where I'm going to show you the magic. Of course, guys probably already know this of the hand sanitizer. I got a little bit of the over paint there, which is unusual for that to happen, but we're going to get a little bit of hand sanitizer, put the brush in it, and we're going to try and wipe that little bit off. Pauly Shore. Yeah, I don't could stand Pauly Shore. Richard 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 Simmons biopic. Found your Gaslands stuff. I guess I have to pimp my Zamboni with North Star Implements of Carnage. Absolutely. MTV closing down next year. Yeah. I don't look, I associate MTV with, music videos. There haven't been music videos on MTV since, I don't know, back when there was Yo MTV Raps. Not that I watched that, but Headbangers Ball. It's stuff you'd have in the background while you're doing something else.
It's funny. I was surfing around the internet. You get all this stuff suggested to it, and there's some girl that comes up all the time. I don't even know why. I mean, she's attractive, but I'm like, oh my god, she looks just like Carrie Wurr. Talking about it having a flashback. What I hear something about they're doing away with with CDs, like DVDs, or doing away with it or something like that. So something was like they're dying. Did they get bought up by another company? I mean, I haven't bought a DVD since I haven't bought a DVD or a CD in 15 years, maybe longer. See, by the time I'm done fooling with this stuff and yakking about stuff, these parts that I primed in black will be ready to paint over. The only part I don't like about this is when I'm doing it's usually the primer. Usually the primer. All right. All right, first step. Let's try to match this green. Why do I need the green? What do I need to match the green? Well, I'd like the hatch on the top to be somewhat close. I'd like the body of this chain gun to be somewhat close. That's it. It doesn't have to be exactly the same. Just has to be somewhat close. So there's metallic in it. That's fine. And I need to use a lighter metallic, which means I need to go to a green that's a little darker than this green. So, with all that said, let's go the old classic goblin green and see where that gets us in. Okay, it's too subtle. Maybe if I mix some of this in with it. Maybe if I mix these two together and then add metallic, which is Vallejo lime green, and add a little bit of metallic, that should do the trick. I've got this. This might be a little too much. It might not be too much. These are colors I never use. What alternative do I have here? I also have this one, which is golden olive. I know this one doesn't cover worth a shit, so maybe it's best to avoid that. It's a really old paint. Olive green, maybe olive green is really close to the Games Workshop. Let's use the Games Workshop one. Let's get some exercise out of these old school paints, and I think we've earned a new top. Let's see. Let's create some magic here. See how dirty this water is. It's pretty fucking dirty. Like Flint, Michigan water. It smells like a British basement. All right, let's take a goop of this out. Man, this stuff is just, it's almost like liquid pastel. And I mean that in a good way. Like it's creamy. I love this stuff and Coat the Arms. Well, it's the same company, supposedly, that did both of them. Great stuff. I got a little bit of goopage here. We'll take some hand sanitizer wherever it is, and we're going to get that off. There we go. These aren't expensive brushes, but and then we'll neutralize this by running it in some dirty water. All right, we should be good to go now.
All right, so we're going to get some of that. Let's get this lime green and mix this as best we can. I hear a mixing ball in there. Yeah, you see that? It's like liquid, and there's like a chunk. It's like a booger. And these paints are really old. They were really old when I got them, and they're colors I don't use frequently at all. It's not too bad, actually. Okay. It doesn't have to be an exact color match. It just has to be like, hey, we added these pieces and we'd like to make them look like they're the body color of the car, at least close. Boy, that's neon. Okay. So, and of course, we always have to have black. Not get any on me. And a metallic, let's just use a mid-range metallic like Ironbreaker. Not Mithril. Well, this is actually one of my favorite things to do, what I'm about to do. I think it's just cool to be able to, figure this stuff out. I feel like I'm pretty decent at it. I mean, you gotta be. I mean, only been painting for 40 freaking years. Only the last 20 are worth a damn, but 25 maybe. You mix a lot of paints. I don't even have a color wheel. I don't need that shit. Color wheels are for colorblind people. Okay. And got to remember, this has a little bit of a tint of strong tone over it. So it's a little browner than anything else. So we're going to use this as a base. No, I don't think we need that. I think we just got it. I think we just dialed it in. So we're going to go somewhere down here where things don't matter. That's fucking close. That's really close. Okay, I think we have our color here, and I probably have to go really light on the metallic. Now the bad thing is it's watery as hell. All right, so what we're going to do is we found that really easy. So we're going to take and we're going to make a batch. Let's make a big batch of this stuff. Or a bigger batch of it. And we're going to do a shade version of it. I don't know. I don't know about all this theory of names, but a darker version of it. And we're going to paint this bumper in that. And this, let's see what on here. We will do this. Let's go a little dark. Magazine. We'll leave that not in this color.
Belzer. The hell is Belzer?
Belzer. I'm not sure what Belzer is, man. I assumed you were a dude. Odds are. I don't want to offend anybody that way. I guess if I don't want to offend anybody, I should just call everybody instead of a he or she, just call them an it or a that. And that way you're covered. Right? All right. In here, I could just paint the whole thing. We're going to black line in there anyway, so. God, that's sharp. I may need to do something about that.
I'd look up what Belzer is, but I can't.
Pauly Shore. Yeah, I can't say that I've seen a movie with him in it. He's like Pee Wee Herman, but different. Same time period. Probably should have painted these teeth metal first. Because if there's overspray on this, I'll just paint over the... Yeah, we're going to do the teeth. We're going to do these teeth in metal. There's no point in doing all that. Let's go ahead and knock that out. Let's do the dark metal here. The ram. Wham, bam. Thank you, Ram. Nope. Yeah, last weekend there was a low rider I didn't pick up, and I should have. They probably won't have it at the store. That's all right. I'm enjoying these ethnic builds more than any of the other ones. And I think the thing is that these have really over the top looking vehicles that when you put them in this environment with guns, it kind of works. It looks pretty cool. Like I wouldn't drive any of these vehicles, but honestly, in this environment, pretty cool. So, like the wrappers and stuff like that, these low riders. I fucked up. I should have used 10 bits. All right. Well, we don't need to use 10 bits for everything. This is a little brighter. We're going to rustify this anyways. Yeah, see, so if I do this and then I'll just paint around the other side. And I might as well do the engine. So sheep thieves, huh? So why sheep and not cattle? Now I'm going to take a guess. I'm not a farmer. I'm not looking this up on the internet. I'm just going to take a guess why sheep are so popular. And I'm not going to do any, I'm not going to even say anything inappropriate. I have a feeling that sheep reach maturity a lot quicker than cattle do. And if you're going to use them for like milk and cheese and stuff like that, your turnaround on investment's probably quicker. That's what I'm guessing. You know, maybe sheep produce just as much milk, a higher amount of milk than cows do. And since they take up less space and probably eat less, they're probably more affordable. That's just my guess. You know, I'm like, why don't you just have cattle? Because there might be people that have sheep in the United States, but you don't see like groups of sheep running around. I said, one guy that I used to drive home in front of his house, I don't know who it was. I guess I assumed it was a guy, and maybe it was some, lady farmer. But she had a lot of goats, but that's the exception. Everybody around here has cattle. I mean, I don't think sheep are worth eating. Sorry, I don't like the taste of them. I'd rather just eat vegetables. I'd rather just eat vegetables. I looked that up on the internet. I know there was a thing a couple of years ago where I don't exactly know what the situation was, but it was in Ireland. And these people were like taking other people's sheep or something like that. So this one guy, I don't remember what the article was, but what struck me was like these sheep, sheep are cute. And I don't mean that in any inappropriate way. I mean, sheep are cute. They are. They can be. And this guy had spray painted their wool, like with different colors, basically so he doesn't, I better not see you with, any sheep with purple spray paint on them or whatever. I don't know whether he put numbers on them or he just spray painted, this belongs to, the O'Briens or something like that, But I remember seeing these pictures of these sheep and like these look like they got attacked by Tank Girl or something like that. Graffiti artist. Like, man, why are people stealing other people's sheep for? How rude. I'm pretty sure it was in Ireland. And not the northern part. The fun part. Oh man, I never got a chance to do a Northern Irish Ireland a Northern Irish. Oh boy, this is great new names for places. A Northern Ireland Army, whatever the hell it's called. See, I don't remember. I haven't looked at it in a few years, and I don't remember what it's called. But the Normans went in there and set up their little setup shop, and then they had a couple of were up there for a couple hundred years. So what is it, like 1100 or something? It's not Norse Irish, but whatever the list comes after Norse Irish. I even downloaded their flags and was going to make their flags and everything, whatever the hell it's called, light like this medium blue or something like. I can't remember what the hell it is. Anyways, never got around to doing that. Never got around to doing many things, but that's all right. If I was still doing that crap, I wouldn't be doing this. I wouldn't have time to do this. So you got to pick your winners and your losers. Anglo-Irish. That's what it is. Anglo-Irish. It's going to build an Anglo-Irish army. A lot of bowmen. A lot of bowmen, foot blades, 1 or 2 knights, a light horse or 2. Good composition for an army. All right, back to this. I'm hesitant to use retarder or something like that that's going to slow the drying process, because as soon as I do that, it's too wet. It takes a long time to dry. Same thing with a wet palette. Man, I haven't used a wet palette in many years. It's just a pain in the ass to use. It just takes up too much space here. It's not a pain in the ass to use. It uses up too much space. So I'd rather not have one and not be encroached by it. If I was doing nothing but painting figures, probably still use it. But, we're using all kinds of different things here that take up a lot more real estate on my desk. This hatch on the top is going to give us a nice point to put corrosion around and make drippings that come from that. That was the other reason I wanted to do it. If you don't do that on the roof, you've got like a roof with like nothing on it. Like it doesn't allow you to tell a story with a story of corrosion. Yeah, I really enjoy doing as what I like to call the drippings. To keep this from looking like a total toy. I'm doing this in green because it allows me to feel like it's more of a part of this vehicle instead of it just being, just some metal shits attached to it. It makes it look like it was intended to be part of this vehicle all along. They had this vehicle in mind when these little 1/64th scale folks decided to start welding and all this stuff that they do on here. I wish there was a source for what I would call affordable 1/64th scale figures. There aren't. They're way too expensive. Way too expensive for what they are. I mean, I know what figures should be going for. They shouldn't be going for that price. And I don't want them painted. I want them unpainted. There's a couple of sets by some company. They're like $7 to $9 for like a vehicle. So they'd have like a vehicle kind of like this. Obviously, it wouldn't be like, crazy paint scheme. 50 style truck or something like that. And 50 style vehicle. And it would have like, surfboards on it. And I don't remember what the name of it is, but I saw it in Walmart. And they'd have a couple figures. So it'd be like, some dude and a girl at the beach, right? Not doing anything inappropriate yet. So I'm like, okay, I could repaint those folks, but they got a lot of goop and stuff on them. They got like, thick paint. You know, I paint really thin, so if they've got any like, you know, details on them, they're not going to be obfuscated. But and I know Amazon Sunset sells a lot of them, but they're just not affordable. They're like, you know, $20 for like 4 figures or something like that. That's just ridiculous, you know. But I would like to put some figures in some of these, you know, because it gives you a sense of scale. You know, you guys know I'm not afraid of painting figures. The Hot Wheels symbol back here, we'll just cover. That's pretty close. That's pretty darn close. I think if we brighten it up just a little bit more, we'll be right on target. Man, Belzer must have been like the call word for, okay, everybody freaking leave the chat. I don't know what the hell Belzer is. Yeah, it's really easy to just say, "Oh, we have a forward firing gun. All right, we'll put it through the grill, or we'll put it on the roof." You know, there's other interesting places to put it. You know that are impractical. I get that it's impractical to put it where I put it, but it makes it look interesting. Hmm. This is exactly where we need to be, or close, anyways. You know, by the time we do the weathering and the drippings, it'll look just like we want it to look. This isn't the first one of these that we've done. We've got a pretty good track record of doing things and being happy with the results. So, and by the way, these parts, in case you're wondering, most of them are from. Well, the chain gun is from Switchyard Studios, and the little top hatch and the ram on the front is from Creepy Hero Studios. A lot of studios. You snagged a good deal from Noble Knight, $60 board game for 50. Which game? You can spend a lot of time on Noble Knight looking for things. You know what I hate about board games? I hate being the one figuring out how to play it. I've just kind of gotten like lazy. Well, I'm not lazy. I'm spending a lot of time on the hobby. I just get to choose what I get to spend it on. You know, I get really frustrated reading something and then like understanding it incorrectly. You know, maybe it's my own mistake for thinking I'm smarter than the average. No, you know what? That's not true. As time goes on, I've become smarter because most people become dumber. I'm not saying you guys. I'm just saying, you know how it is. People that are just like, oh, we don't know anything about anything, but we have an opinion. Oh, great. I hate rereading the rules and understanding them incorrectly, or, maybe they're not tested properly. I don't know. But I could just say, well, just don't film any videos and nobody will call you out on doing the shit wrong. I say, yeah, but then I'm not, sharing my passion with the hobby with other people. Because some people that do this stuff are nowhere near anyone else. I've seen the post before. Hey, I live in such and such a place. Anybody play Gaslands or anybody play DBA? Yeah, nothing but wind chimes. You don't hear anything.
Pericles. Oh, I bet that's a pretty looking game. It's like a diplomacy game. I'm always the one who has to figure out how to play it, paint everything, and organize everything.
That can get old. That can get old. I had a friend of mine who he was older, and I just got tired of getting together with him because anytime that we needed to, I was the one that initiated it. So one day I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to initiate if he wants to get together or anything. And I haven't gotten together with him since 1998. So, it just gets old when you're doing all the heavy lifting, you know? It just gets really old when you do all the heavy lifting. And people change. Maybe at one point you're interested in doing the heavy lifting. After a while, it's just not worth it. Like I got two sets of this rule book. I ordered one from Amazon a long time ago, and it came damaged. And I'm a bit of a book freak when it comes to making sure they're not damaged or anything like that. So I'm like, hey, I would like to return this. Like, just keep it. We'll send you another one. So the one that I kept, I gave to Mitch. So it sits over at his house. So when we play over there, I know why we always playing at Mitch's house. I don't know, he's lazy. I don't want to make a mess of my house either. Mitch's house already a mess. We'll just play over there. So, I said, hey, did you look up the rule book? I said, no, I don't read anything. So he doesn't read anything at all. Well, at least, I'll give him this. He has a really good attitude about playing things. It's not like, he's some dick that always has to win, right? That's a bigger problem. I wouldn't be able to deal with that. I'm going to go ahead and paint this like I'm going to use it. All right. So let's go ahead and let's make a negative version, of this, and just assume that this is going to work out and we want to use this on this build. But yeah, he doesn't read rules, so I got to read all the rules, and I don't, and here's my attitude. I don't like to explain everything multiple times. So I would rather not figure it out on my own and then tell him what I figured out. I would rather just figure it out together. I'm not necessarily looking to have some kind of advantage where I can now play better than you. Because if I know I'm going to win, I don't want to play the game, you know? So I don't like to figure things out. Well, at this point, we've got the basic information. I don't mind reading little parts and then figure that out. But explaining things to people is exhausting because people don't listen, and you have to multiply explain things. And I got to do that shit at work, and it's just, it brings back bad, It really makes it a lot of fun to have someone that is working on the game level you are on the same. Absolutely, I absolutely, I agree completely. So like I don't want to figure things out on my own, right? And I've always done that. My buddy Jeff used to do the same thing. We were working on stuff. We're like, I want to have the same knowledge base as them, you know. And he moved to West freaking Virginia. Wow. It gets old when you do a lot from move to West Virginia. Also do the heavy lifting. Yeah. West freaking Virginia. That's one of those states I think that's dying. That's what happens when when you keep marrying your sister, eventually you can't have any kids. That's a state, man. Nobody has. People always say make fun of Florida. That's fine. Don't come here, right? But that's a state. West Virginia doesn't get any respect. West Virginia makes, you know, Mississippi tells West Virginia jokes. I've driven through parts of West Virginia. It's pretty. I don't know if I want to live there, but there's a lot of places I wouldn't want to live. Mississippi tells West Virginia jokes. Yep. It doesn't get any respect. Arkansas doesn't get any respect. People think that Alabama. I don't think that. I've been to Alabama. I've lived in Alabama. There's some nice people in Alabama. There's some inbredness to the extreme in Alabama. Okay, but there's some nice folks there. Might have moved to Virginia. Might not remember. Does he have any? How many teeth does he have? I had a guy that worked for me who was from West Virginia, and he did not like the fact that he was from West Virginia. And he made it a point, I guess because there's a lot of poverty in West Virginia, a lot of poor white people. There's poor white people anywhere, but anyhow, he was like, he would not eat beans because beans were a food for poor people. He was never going to eat beans again. I'm like, well, they don't have to be the main meal, but it can be like a side dish. No, he wouldn't eat. I'm not eating beans. So, show me on this doll where the bean touched you, Actually, I need to get a doll like that so I can use that. Show me on this doll where such and such happened, Question is, what would it be a doll of? Got super glue on these glasses. Well, I don't wear these out anywhere, so. Freaking weird. What debonds super glue? Super glue debonder? Okay, other than that, there's something like you put them in the freezer or something like that. It pops off or something odd happens about super glue. Let's bring this thing up and see if we like how it looks. And if we like it, we'll glue it on there. And if we don't, we will do no such thing. Yeah, if you're the one organizing everything, it gets old. Like there's a guy I actually know about this guy. He actually is one of the few people that actually has bought something from me. Well, what do you mean? Well, first of all, I have to sell something for somebody to be able to buy something from me, right? Which is, I don't really sell things that I make, but I did make a couple of camps. This guy happened to buy one of the camps. He might have bought two. I don't remember. This was 15 years ago, probably. Made them out of foam or whatever. I decided to sell it to him. And he was the guy that was organizing all the DBA stuff in Ohio. And he eventually I said pulled a Tony and left. No, I mean the people in Ohio, the DBA crowd in Ohio, pretty much died around 2009, 10, something like that. Ohio used to be a hotbed of DBA activity, and it just kind of died. And one of the reasons that I think it died is this guy was pulling all the heavy lifting, and but he just took it to an extreme. Like he was providing all the prize support and everything and not playing. I'm like, so what's the freaking point? If you're doing all that, if you're basically giving up your time at a convention, providing all the prize support, making all the prizes, organizing the whole event, and then not allowing yourself to play, what's in it for? And then people don't show up. Like, why are you doing, why are you doing that? That's one of the reasons that I don't do DBA anymore. Like I was doing, I wasn't providing prize support. I was, but it's like it didn't cost me anything, right? It wasn't like I was coming up with $20 or $30 packs of figures or something like that out of my own pocket. But you're doing all this heavy lifting. Nobody else is doing it, and nobody's showing up. Like we can't get you can't ever get more than 10 players. 10 players on a good day. We might have a pool of like 30 players, but oh, I can't do this because it's my anniversary, or I'm not into the game anymore. I'm involved in different games, or I can't make it this time. You could never get more than 10 people ever. I think the most we've ever gotten is like maybe 12 people, like once. When I first started playing, 14 people. Maybe I've run off two or four people that don't show up anymore. No, it's just, when Marty was running it, it was one DBA event at a convention. You had to wait 6 months to fucking play the game, right? And when you did, it was only 14 people playing. DBA it's not going to appeal to some people. It's abstract. Maybe it's in a scale people don't want to do it. Maybe some people aren't interested in ancients. I never played ancients until I played DBA. Never played anything with Romans. Didn't avoid it. There was just nobody that played Romans and things like that. It's just not going to appeal to some people. And if it's like, if you're doing all that, if you're basically holding yourself hostage to try to better something, and it's just like, it's not there, what else can you do? So I haven't seen him in over a decade. I don't know about the teeth now. That's how the DBM stuff ended when I was really young. The one guy who did all the heavy lifting moved. Yeah, and it's like, and you think other people are like if I just disappeared in a vacuum, right? I would expect that Mitch would be able to run DBA events at the convention. He's not stupid. He's played as much as I had. The fucker's played a lot of fucking games. He's the second most experienced DBA player as far as I'm concerned. He's played thousands of games, right? But just some people just don't want to be, well, if you don't step up, it dies. So I don't understand. I got involved in DBA because I just started getting DBA, and Marty, who was running everything, says, "Hey, I'm not going to be able to make this convention because I got a high school reunion coming up. I forget what it was, 30, 40, something high school reunion he was going to in California. That's where he's from, the land of fruits and nuts." And I'm like, I didn't have any local players. I'm like, I'm not waiting a fucking year to play the game again. I'll run everything. I've always run games before. I've just never run a tournament, right? It's not really a tournament. I want to play with my own figures event, right? So I'm like, fuck it, I'll run it. And then since then, it was like, this is a breeze. I'll just do this every time. I'm not even providing all the forces. Like, everybody provides their own stuff and terrain. And one guy's kind of took it over, but he doesn't post. I think he posted on Fanaticus one time and lost interest because there was no reply. A lot of people just like I said, you guys that watch my channel, I appreciate you guys. We're doing stuff together. We're on this journey or so. The local people I play with, they never watch my shit. Never. They have their own reasons for not doing that, but Even a Facebook post, I'll post, I post photos of every single thing that I do. The people that I play with never even comment on the stuff that I do. Like, you motherfuckers are the ones that are going to be playing with this. You should be a little more excited about that. They're just like oblivious. So it's like, you can't fix, I don't know, maybe they're sitting arguing about politics on Facebook all the time. They don't have time to listen to something positive, a positive message, but as a general rule, the people that I play with, or the people that are going to play with these things, just they're like oblivious to what's going on. So, I'm doing this for me because it brings me therapy, and I enjoy it. And when I stop enjoying it, I won't do it anymore. So it brings me back to gamers are fucking weird. Gamers are fucking weird. So I say, you a gamer? Not really. I don't really. I bathe. I gotta take a shower every night. Brush my teeth. Do you brush your teeth? Yes. You're not a gamer. Oh man. Okay, time to get another coca. I'll be right back. I'm not even gonna pause it. I'll just take a moment. If I worked a regular job where I wasn't at home on my computer, I don't know, I'd be watching YouTube as much. I don't know if I'd be watching YouTube as much as I do. Well, a lot of the people I deal with are retired. So, Mitch says he's not going to retire. I look forward to the day where he's working and I'm not, because I'm fucking retiring, or I'm going to commit suicide. I'm not working in my 70s. I'm not going to fucking do it. Just on principle. I'm not going to do it. There's lazy fuckers. A third my age? Almost a third my age not working now. Like, nope. Not going to do it. No. Oh, I don't know if I'm ever going to retire. Okay, well, have fun wearing a hairnet the rest of your life. I'm not doing it. Working keeps me from doing all the things I enjoy doing. So, and I've worked every day since I was fucking 15 or 16 years old. Like, okay, ya basta. Enough talk. I've got lots of stuff to do. I'm like, my wife's even said, I said, Tony's never going to be one of these people that's like, he's got to get some part-time job just to stay entertained. Like, yeah, especially with you guys. I'm not trying to blow smoke up your guys' ass, but you guys actually provide a useful service. Like, you keep me on track. We can make some magical stuff, and hopefully it'll motivate you guys to do some magical stuff too. Can I see the black car, please? First one on the left. Absolutely. That's what we're here for. Now, you need to be patient with me because you know what I'm going to do? I know exactly what I'm going to do. I can't see what's being filmed. Let's pop this guy up. This is El Diablo Verde, the Green Devil. I'm going to go around. I'm going to look through the camera angle, and we're going to zoom in on this thing. Because what I hate about this is you guys never get a chance to really see how how awesome some of this stuff ends up turning out for a freaking toy. So it already came black and with the green flames and stripes. I added everything else. We weathered it. I think it does a disservice. It does it a disservice to repaint over all this stuff. There's some beautiful artwork already on here. Let's just enhance it. You know, it's just like the front of the grill. The grill, whoops. Maybe let's hold it a little bit better. The front of the grill is already there. None of those lights are painted. You know? And that's how we've done all this stuff. Same thing with this. I bought this specifically because it has. You like the hood scoop? Well, that's what I added. It actually had a little engine like this on it first, and I want to make all three Impalas different. So this color scheme was already on here. I mean, it's freaking gorgeous. I mean, I could hand paint that. It'd take me a month, but it's already there. Well, we got to make it look weathered. You know, I mean, you don't have to make it look weathered, but I choose to. You know, the back of it was just chrome. Like, there's detail that can be painted on there. It's relatively easy to do, you know, if you know the trick. You know, some guy posted this on here. This minigun's not glued down on purpose. I posted this on here. It's like, oh, well, you cheated by not painting the freaking calavera on there. I'm like, okay, well, I am ruining this by not using the calavera. You know, so this was just all black and white. That's it. There was no different colors other than that. You know, we added some guns, added some dirt, gave it personality, gave it a name. That's how I choose to do things. This vehicle here has no modifications done to it. This boom truck is exactly as it was, except we weathered it. Well, this on the back, this back bumper and the front bumper were purple. Like, you know, Grimace from McDonald's purple. That's just not going to fly. So we added some drippings. We added some black lining. Added some tail lights. Get it to focus here. Bam, done. Yeah, I've been really happy with how these things turn out. They paint relatively quick. They paint relatively quick. Maybe they think watching means just watching, which I hardly ever do. Absolutely. You're in the background at work, rarely ever watch, mostly listen to paint or work on this beloved age. Not enjoying it, huh? What type of paints do I use? Well, let's see. Take your pick. Let's zoom back out. I need to get away from this. All right, so we've got a shitload of Vallejo. And I don't need this many colors, okay? Why do you have so many? Well, all I did was I wanted to buy paint, so I bought them all. So this is Vallejo. I use a few ammo MIGs, but that's really for my military stuff. Lots of craft paints over here. We got some Citadel colors here, a few coat the arms. Basically craft paint Vallejo for the most part. You know, and they're locally sourced, like I can replace most of them. You know, so if I run out of a color, which isn't most colors, like some of these, I got this when this paint was already like 10 years old, and I've had it 20 years. So some of these paints are really, really old, but they work just fine, you know, but all acrylic. You know, I don't judge, you know, I don't believe in using enamels. I want free cleaner for my brushes. The cleaner for the brushes, I want to be free. So, I've had several people that are enamel Nazis. Like, you know, if you don't use enamels, you're a piece of shit. I don't care what people do, right? Just don't tell me what to do. I don't tell people what to do. I present something, you know. I've used enamels for things. I don't use them anymore. I used to use rattle cans. I don't use them anymore. If you still want to use them, You know, you're not some kind of a deviant. But I'm not on a crusade. There's too many people that are on a crusade. Well, if you don't do it my way, you're doing it wrong. I don't care how you do it. You know, I'm not 5'4" with a tiny dick. I don't care how you do things. This AI job is great. No sarcasm intended. Okay. For a few days, I was training the AI on Peloponnesian War maps. Okay, you got my attention. You had me at maps. And last week, I was training it to recognize Godzilla toys. Yeah, it makes things easy. It makes things really easy. I was like, what's that yellow logo? I'll say, okay, I like that. They have a new Florida license plate that has that little logo on it. Like, you can't have that on a license plate because, you know, these leftists will, and that's what I call them. I don't call them liberals. There's nothing wrong with being liberal. Leftists, yeah. These leftists would just scratch up your car. So we're good with the, we're good with that. But the new Florida license plate looks good with that. But oh man, where are you from? Raw 556. I don't have any 556. I don't have any 556. I'd like to have some 762, but just too expensive. I'd love to have an FAL, but I'm not going to spend $2,000 on that. I'd rather spend $2,000 on Matchbox cars. That's 2,000 Matchbox cars, you know, which I'm well on my way to having. I need to do a count. I got like 60 of them painted to this level, but this is a great hobby. It's a cheap hobby. True story. I was at the range 2 weekends ago with a daughter. Had a great time. Good family experience. Everybody was friendly. Everybody was safe. And these couple guys were in the next bay. Not really bay because it's open, but anyhow, we're right next to us. Like, I guess nobody reloads ammo anymore. And I'm like, you know, I said, I'm not going to reload ammo. I already have a hobby that is very time consuming. It's not worth my time. I mean, anybody can reload ammo. Like, you know, I'm painting miniatures. I don't have time for that. So yeah, there was a ton of brass on the ground. A ton. I don't really want propellant in my house, you know. Okay, are we there? Are we there yet? No, we're not there yet. We need to bring this up a smidge. Let's add some more metallic stuff. I only go to the range a couple times a year. It's too. Don't have time for everything. Ooh. Yeah, that's good. Highlight some of this stuff on here. AI police. Man, I love anything map related. I am really into maps. I mean, I can't imagine like sucking at directions. I just can't imagine that. And I'm like, you know, pre Google Earth or Google Maps person, right? And you have somebody who's good at maps, you give them Google Maps, you know, I feel like I could do anything. I'll run Waze. I don't run Waze for it to tell me which way to go. I run Waze so I can find out where the damn cops are. So I don't go to pass somebody and there's a fucking cop right there eating his donut. Donuts. Sorry, donuts. Yes, I know, Mr. Stomach. Yeah, I don't know. I think I like it. I mean, I like the fact that there's extra protection on something that's going to get all like all up in somebody's business. That's what this thing is. This is a contact sport.
The map stuff was really fun. Sometimes it got tedious, but at least I'm looking at stuff I enjoy, which is rare for a job.
It is. It is. The most fun I get to do at work is look at directions and places and tell people where to go. Which is funny because that means, I'm already good at directions anyways. I already was. So, like, you go somewhere and you already know what kind of stuff is around it, even though you haven't been there. Is there a certain AI that you're using? Different brand? I wouldn't even know how to get into that. But I guess it just goes for, some people will be like, hey, this Gaslands game is good. How do you get into painting miniatures? And I'm sitting there thinking, how do you not know? But, it's second nature to me. Might not be to other people. Like, how would you even know when to get into AI? Like, I don't. Again, it just becomes one of those, if somebody showed me how to do it and gave me some of the first building blocks, maybe I could take off from there. But just be proud that I've been able to, use Chat GPT for some stuff. And I don't know that it's that useful. It's almost kind of like a brainstorming tool for me. Like, it allows you to, like, opens the, okay, this isn't working out. It's just not covering worth a damn. We're just going to cover that with mud when that goes, it just goes like that, and we'll do that. Now, this particular guy has one gold tooth at the top. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teeth on the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so when you're looking at him, it is the one over from the middle, which would be, well, it's close to this one. I'm going to make this spike gold or bronze colored to match this dude here in the back, which I don't know if that's supposed to be a representation of who the driver is, but it will be in my case. I actually thought it was the Hulk, and I'm like, yeah, the Hulk would. I mean, he is a monster, but he doesn't have bad teeth, does he? I don't think the Hulk has bad teeth.
This week I've been training it to build websites, so I've been making mock miniatures pages. It's funny when you ask the AI to mimic miniature selling pages, it automatically leaves images missing.
You've heard me talk about this. I think it is extremely hard to run a business. Okay. But it's not from the standpoint of out. And I'm not saying that's easy, but that's a concept that's easy to understand. What's difficult about it is like, okay, what kind of permits do I need? What kind of stuff do you have so the imperial federal government doesn't come and knock your house down, kind of stuff, without you trying to be nefarious. Like, okay, like, I'm a good citizen. What do I need to do? How do you find all that? Like, I would find that it would be overwhelming. Like, I don't even want to get involved in that. Like, I don't want to get involved in, like, not that I have any interest in doing it, of like doing a Patreon. Like, I don't even want to know the intricacies of things of the Patreon stuff. It just doesn't interest me. You get into all that legalese stuff and I tune out, right? But that's the stuff that's really hard to do. Make sure you have, the correct training and all that stuff. Like, that's the hard crap. Putting up pictures of your fucking work that you have, like, that's a no-brainer and kind of fun. Like, I already do that for everything I build, and I don't make any money off of it. Brainstorming tools, one of the best ways you ChatGPT. You're using it correctly. Just don't ever take its suggestions without inputting your own ideas first or after. Well, I have used it enough that I realize that I get the same kind of crap over again. Like, the first time you use it, like, man, that's some great ideas. And then you do something else and it gives you kind of the same crap, It's kind of the same way I use Waze or Google. Like, okay, I want to go to Orlando, or maybe I want to, it's kind of obvious. There's really only one way to go to Orlando. If I want to go to some place like Mount Dora or Eustis or something, where there's multiple different ways of going. So I'll ask it, I'll see what they are, see what the distance is, what it takes me by, and then I make the decision of which one seems like a better idea based on the information that I have. It's kind of like that. Like, I think it would be, not that I ever want to write another paper in my entire life ever, or any future lives I may have. But if I had something like Chat GPT to unclog the pores in my brain when I'm like, I don't know what to think, it would be really useful. But like, the names of some of these cars, I don't think Chat GPT named any of them. But it did give me ideas for other things that I may not have considered. So, yeah, it is a useful tool.
That's good. You recognize that.
It's like math, okay? I don't hate math on any level, okay? Well, that's not true. I hate algebra too. Not algebra, because people are like, algebra sucks, you never use it. I'm using algebra right now. You're always solving for X, always. That mentality is always there. Algebra 2, quadratic stupidity. No, I have another name for it, but we're not going to say what that is. The quadratic crap. No. I don't know where I was going with math. But I don't like math where it's a problem that is so abstract that you don't have a clue of, when you solve the formula, to be able to double check it, that the answer makes sense, right? Like, if you're doing stuff at work, like, all right, we're going to this place and it costs this much amount of money, and we have this much amount of money in, and it costs us this much, and we have this much money left over. We add all those totals up, and you kind of have an idea of what it should be in a week. If you get something that says, well, here it says that we lost $2,000 or something like that. I'm like, how? All these days are positive. You got to have some kind of reference where you can like double check your math at a glance that gives you, when you're definitely on the wrong track. And that's what I hate about math. Any math that I cannot do that because it's so damn abstract, I really detest. It's like centigrade temperature. I am all for the metric system. I can't wrap my head around centigrade temperature. I can't. But it's not abstract enough where somebody says, hey, it's 55 degrees Fahrenheit. What is that in centigrade? It's like, is that 63 centigrade? No, it's probably something around, I don't know, 16 or 17 degrees centigrade. So it's not abstract enough that I can't like double check it and know that whether I'm on the right track or not. So any math that I can't do that in, I'm not interested in doing. It's like, oh, I'm sorry, this looks more like a -4.6b. Like, I hate that kind of shit. Same thing. If you're looking for stuff on the internet, like if you're looking for paint schemes for a Panzer IV, right? I want to look for Panzer IV H paint schemes at the Battle of Kursk, right? You're going to get a lot of stuff. If you don't know what a Panzer IV looks like, you're in trouble. You're going to get a Sherman's going to work its way in there. You're going to get T-34s. You might get something that's happening in the Ukraine right now. You have to have kind of a clue what you're looking for so that you know what you're getting. You can not count all the misinformation, I'm starting a new thing. I've started it a couple days ago. I use Facebook a lot for all the right reasons, but I use Facebook a lot for the hobby. And there's a lot of websites or a lot of Facebook pages that get suggested to me that would normally be of interest to me. Like, there might be like I'm just making up names now. World War II tanks, aircraft of combat aircraft pictures, stuff like that. And when I see these posts all the time that have the opening poster, whether they're a bot or not, puts specifically wrong information down that is obviously wrong, I'm going to block that page, because I'm absolutely tired of seeing misinformation stuff. I'm absolutely tired of seeing a post that's like maybe about Pearl Harbor, and then somebody will go in there and say, well, it didn't happen in I'm going to use an extreme example. It didn't happen in 1941. The sneak attack was when they attacked in 1904. Like, they'll they'll misconstrue one thing for the other. Like one guy was it was a post on like a sunken ship warship website page, which is something that would interest me because it's kind of cool to see what these wrecks look like, from World War II, World War One, etc. And this post was a picture. It was like, here's a picture of the cruiser Scharnhorst that just got discovered off the Falkland Islands in 1915, something like that, right? 1914. It sank in December 1914. Von Spey's squadron, along with the other Gneisenau. Well, this guy went and posted something like, "Yeah, well, I'm glad to see it sunk because my grandfather was on it when it sank the Glorious." Okay, well, that's a different Scharnhorst, and like you're either ignorant as fuck or you're trying to cause. And there'll be somebody that will post something that's deliberately wrong, that sends lemmings off a cliff, and that same person that creates that wrong information never comes back and corrects it. Like, we all make mistakes, right? But if I post something that I'm wrong about, I'll either delete my post so I don't seem like an idiot. First of all, try not to make the idiot post. But if you do, we all make mistakes. Go and correct it. No, they just leave it there so that other lemmings keep falling off the cliff. I'm tired of seeing that. I'm blocking that website. I don't want to have anything to do with it. And it never occurred to me that because I'm not a tech guy, that people would be putting wrong information there on purpose to create dialogue. Because it's kind of like we were talking about famous people. Like, it's good to get attention, but you shouldn't want to get bad attention. But these websites and sites that just want, oh, we need attention and movement, even if it's bad. I just don't want to have anything to do with that. I don't want to have anything to do with misinformation. It's just fucking dishonest. Maybe if I didn't care, maybe if I didn't care if people like mislearn things, but I wish the hobby world would shift towards Discord. It is so difficult to use. It's so user unfriendly. But it will be on the Facebook forever, just like it was on the Yahoo pages forever. Well, the Facebook makes it real easy to share a picture. That's why I use it. It's really easy to share a picture, and Discord. The problem with Discord is it seems like it's a little too much like Reddit. It's a little too much like, and then if it's a verbal Discord, it's too much like playing online games with a 7-year-old, that won't shut the hell up. Maybe if you can control who's in your Discord group, I'm sure you're not the problem. I may or may not be the problem. I think you have a pretty good idea whether I am or not because I'm the one running my mouth. But the Facebook is really easy to use. It has some things I don't like about it. You're surfing and you see something, you see two things you like, and if you don't make a visual reference of what page it's on, you'll never find it again. That kind of stuff. I really haven't used it. What is it that you like about Discord? Should I start a Discord page? Some things are for those of us that are not tech people, and I'm not a tech person. I'm a painter, goddammit. When things just become too much trouble or they aren't user friendly, I just lose interest. And there's a lot of stuff out there that's not user friendly. And remember, you got to make some of these things that are easy to use, that you stumble and are easy to use right off the bat. If they require too much trouble, like what's the editing software? That's free. Leonardo. No, it's not Leonardo. It's one of them artist things. Who's the other Leonardo guy? Da Vinci Resolve. Da Vinci Resolve. It's too fucking complicated. It's too complicated. I don't care if it's free. I don't care if you pay me to use it. I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted using it. It's powerful software, and it's glitchy. It's like, I don't want that kind of trouble in my life. Now, it might appeal to some people, but it's an immediate turn off for those of us that just want to get our message out. That's it. You know, like, I don't want to take pictures and enhance them. I don't want to show you guys stuff that my stuff isn't. I just kind of want to share my passion. And if it makes it difficult to do that, then I'll just go to somewhere else. I don't believe in my hobby causing me any trouble. This should be all therapy, no conflict. It just doesn't pay enough to to do that kind of thing. All right. Now, let's go ahead and bring these things up. Yeah, I don't think Mitch won't be doing any DBA videos. I don't know. Has anybody made any DBA videos since I stopped making them? They're easy to do. It's obvious an idiot can do them. Well, I'm not an idiot, but I am a tech idiot. Like my hero, the 3D bot baker guy, which I've come close to, like, actually surprised joining his site. I don't really do that. I don't really, I do my shit for free. I don't expect people to pay me any money. We can take Google's money. We don't need to take individual people's money. And I thought about joining his thing, but that's a slippery slope. I can't say I've never done anything if I do that. But anyhow, he does a hell of a job editing videos, but he doesn't spend any time painting. I don't think he does, or not much. So we all have a limited amount of time and just choose what we're going to spend it on. I don't know that I like how this turns out, but we're going to give this a wash anyways. So I may do something. It may not turn out how I want it the first time, but we got enough skills, we can fix it. That's going to be brass. Where's my bronze at? We're going to need bronze for the tooth. That's what we're going to use as the base. And then probably old gold. Yep. Old gold. But what I really dislike is you watch something like, all right, I'll go ahead and watch a video on how this works. And you watch a video and make it seem real easy. And you try it and it's like anything but real easy. You're like, well, that's what I get for trusting somebody. So I don't really want to make things seem that they're one way and then because then the next thing you know, you don't have a leg to stand on. Be like if I was like sponsored by somebody. And I'm like, man, I can't tell you the truth of what this product is like because he's sending me free product. I don't want your free product. And it's not like, well, I'm going to make a scene and I'm going to make it seem like crap. Your stuff like crap. I'm like, no, I'm just going to look, I'm a consumer too. I don't want to lead anybody down the wrong way. I'd rather be guilty of different sins other than that one. Now, I'm just rolling with this. This might actually be a stupid idea. But that way, at least it matches this thing that's on the back of this. Put a little bit of old gold. It would help if I mix this. The production level was low in the DBA videos, but you and Mitch had some of the best commentary, which would be hard to compete with. Yeah. Well, and you know what? It basically made it so that I really enjoy running my mouth about stuff. I'm not interested in like keeping a secret about why I'm doing stuff. I like to, the best way to describe how to play something is to tell, as an experienced person, tell you what they're thinking about while they're making the decisions. So it's not, because people ask you all the time, why did you do this? Why did you do that? Well, fuck it. I'm just going to run my mouth all the time and tell you what I'm thinking at each moment. But a lot of people will be like, I'm getting ready to build an army with such and such. How do you win with it? I'm like, how about trying to play it and figure it out on your own? People need help in figuring out how to play the game correctly, right? And then my opinion on something may not be what your opinion is on it. Like, somebody a couple of years ago or a year ago or something like that posted something like, I don't know about these bowmen. Bowmen suck. I don't know how people win with them. And I'm like, I have won tons of games because I just sat there and shot the crap out of somebody, put somebody in a pickle, shoot a bunch of stuff on them, don't have any pips that I have to spend, and just make the other guy roll ones. Eventually, I've won many games that way. So now Warband, that's a different story altogether. But winning with something that can just dish out a lot of damage and take no risks or minimum risks, that's easy. All right, now I don't know that I'm going to go any brighter on these teeth per se. We're just going to add this, and this does not look very good at this point, okay? It doesn't look very bad, but it doesn't look very good. But I've done this enough times that I know that just because at this stage it doesn't look very good doesn't mean the end result is something I'm going to be unhappy with. So we're just going to make sure that this metal is over all these spots, and then we're going to go to the let's go to the weathering phase, and then we'll go back to the dripping phase. I like doing the drippings after the weathering. That way you can make sure that those spots stand out. Like, I would never sell my figures because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, and nobody's going to pay, $100 a figure. So I'm not going to sell them. Like, I'm not doing it for the money. But these cars, I'd probably sell these cars. I mean, if somebody was interested in them. I'm not asking somebody to be interested, and I'm just saying, because they take about you'd have to figure out, okay, it's $1 for the car. How much does it cost for all the parts? I don't know, $5. So now, we're at $5 altogether, maybe. Like, how much is 2 hours of my work? I don't know, I'd sell $50, 75, depending on how many pieces, how much I had to repaint. Nobody's going to pay that money for it, Like, that's fine. I need them for the game anyways, The stuff I enjoy doing, I'll do for free. Stuff I don't enjoy doing, you better pay me, and you better pay me well. Yeah, I don't worry too much about the production value of my videos, because I don't have a cameraman. I really can't. I'm doing this, and and I find out that, like, for instance, I was doing a video. I literally filmed this of how a paint attack. I forget what it was. I think it was a Panzer that was in gray, right? Pretty easy for me to do. I can paint them consistently. I could paint 100 of them and they look like they're all painted kind of at the same time. I got a pretty good method. I don't mind sharing it with you guys. But what's really frustrating for me is I have to film it in a way that I can't see what I'm doing, but yet I have to do this at the same time. So, I was like priming, and then, do this, and do this color in gray. And then I looked at these after I did them, and all of these things, the photo was out of register. So in other words, if I was painting this, and then somehow I'll wait a few seconds for it to come over. It was like this. Like, I'm working on this particular car, and it's just off the fucking screen. And I got so frustrated and disappointed that I was trying to do something good for the community, and it turned out like a waste of time that I just gave up on doing it. And it's not like I want to keep all this information to myself. It's like, I want to share folks how easy it is to do this, or at least how
easy it is for me to do it. I always say, if I can do it, you guys can do it too. You got to want to be able to do it, but, so without having a producer slash, camera person, I could be my own camera person. It's complicated stuff, but like I'm doing this stuff. I can't be minding the camera at the same time. All right. We are doing chocolate brown. So I got so bummed out about that because I don't have a helper. I got to do it all myself. And if it's something that's hobby related, that creates, look, I didn't paint the fucking back lights. Well, we'll do them afterwards. God bless it. None of this is stuff that you can't do in the order. It's more efficient to do it in certain orders than others. So, I can't be in more than one place at one time. And I don't like doing videos that people recommend. Like, hey, you should do a video about this. Because then the problem is like, okay, I don't mind doing it. But I've been burnt too many times. Like, all right. So I normally say have 200 or 300 views on something that I'm just kind of doing on my own. If I'm doing something that's a suggestion, it stands to reason that I should have more than 200 or 300 views. And I frequently don't. So I'm like, you're just creating this false idea that I'm going to get a better result when I'm actually going to get a worse one. And it's really like demoralizing. Demoralizing makes it sound like, well, I'm not going to paint at all anymore. No, but it's like, it's the wrong reinforcement. So I don't like to do things specifically for something like that because I've been burnt too many times. I've done some editing and script work for educational videos. I don't know if I could make a little wars level type of episode, but I'd like to try someday. That's exhausting. That's exhausting. And I don't like anything scripted. I don't. Like, I look at Little Wars videos, and their videos are great, but a lot of their shit is scripted. And, I don't watch reality shows because it's all scripted. Like, you watch something like, what's that show with the 3 car guys? It's changed names or whatever. Top Gear. The Top Gear, whatever the hell it's called now, right? They have some really good dialogue, but a lot of it is scripted. Especially like the back and forth stuff like that. And I personally, I don't want to watch anything with scripted, pretending to be back and forth stuff. And maybe it appeals to a lot of people, but what was the show that the guys that did like Mythbusters? I'd watch Mythbusters a lot. And the girls would watch the guys that did the fish tank stuff. Right? These 2 guys from like Florida, and they're a pair of Yankee Stannies. And but I think they're here in Florida and do fish tank, whatever the hell it's called. I think it's called Tanked. They'd watch it, and there'd be this infighting stuff, but it's all like scripted. Like, I don't want to see that bullshit. You're basically feeding me bullshit. So I would rather have poor production quality, which, I'm just filming stuff, and just if it happens as it happens, and it just doesn't create any more work for me. It's real. Nothing is scripted. And that's where the beauty, I think, of wargaming comes for me, is all the real unusual stuff that happens. And it's just coincidence. It's just coincidence that these oddities happen. And it's too cool to not share that with you guys. But I don't script anything. I don't pre-plan anything. It just happens. And if you've seen any battles, we've had some insane battles that just seem like there's no way that this happened like this. Like, all I got to do is roll anything but a 6. Oh shit, I rolled a 6. And then you say that 3 or 4 times and the 6 happens. It's like, crazy stuff. And that's where I think,
the super interesting part of gaming comes in, because of those really unlikely situations still happen. Not like, oh, this is really predictable. I don't like scripted because it forces amateurs to act. I think it's just fucking fake. It's just fake. Like, what was the first show that did that? Was it Survivor? Survivor should be hidden camera footage on an island and only one person lives. And if you got to kill the other people with fucking bamboo stakes, that's what it takes, man. Survivor. It's not plural, one person. None of this voting bullshit. None of this behind the scenes. Well, I was really concerned because Kayla, she left her underwear in a place that, was in everybody's way. And I don't think she thinks about other people. And then it cuts to the other scene. Well, I really wasn't being that disconcerted. I'm like, I don't give a shit about that drama. That's all bullshit drama. Like, show me the hidden camera footage. That would be interesting. Now, maybe not that type of a show, because that doesn't interest me, but it's too much work to make things fake. There's too much fake shit in the world. I don't need to be part of it. See, the teeth right now, teeth part, I'm not digging it, right? But we're not done yet. We're not done. There's a lot of drippings, for instance, that have to go on this chain gun. But I specifically do the weathering first because I do not want the drippings to be just right, and then I cover them up with the weathering. All right, the only problem with it is I'm going to handle this some, and some of this might come off. That's okay. We can do it. We can do it over again. We want some edges. We want some of this dusting that comes up on the edges, just a little lightly. Same thing here. I work in a very dusty environment. And, if you want your car ruined, go get it washed. And then after one day, you'll have like all this dust on all these edges that stand out. Again, when I was doing DBA armies, I wasn't doing this. This is all from doing tanks. So we're bringing that experience onto this. And the secret is you got to put a flat coat for it to grab. That one's on me. I don't know if somebody else came up with that one, but I figured that one out on my own. You try sloshing something on and it sloshes right off. I'm like, all right, we need this to grab somehow. Okay, so that's all the weathering I'm going to do at this point. Let's go to dripping land. Oh, hold on a second. If we choose to use this, we're going to need a little bit, so it looks equivalent. All right, my favorite part, the drippings. Maybe not if I say it that way. It's like, what kind of a demon is looking for drippings? One that's not looking to do any good. Well, what demon is looking to do any good? All right, soft tone, light tone, and mid brown. Hey, it's the guy with the awesome hobby zone. Thanks, man. Appreciate you. You must have watched those shows a lot. You know them very well. All you have to do is just see one of them, It's like, how many of those reality shows basically involve groups of people just whoring themselves out and having no self-respect? All of them? What was that show, Fear Factor? I didn't watch Fear Factor because there's some gross shit in there. But Fear Factor is all about let's get pretty girls to do nasty shit. That's basically what it is. Like, oh man, this girl's really hot. All right, let's see how much we can pay her to stick her head in pig's guts. Like, who wants to see that, man? No, I don't watch anything. Reality should be okay. We're not going to edit anything. That's reality. And I don't like to start multiple things at once and then finish them all at the same time, right? That creates ADD. That creates people with attention span issues. Mythbusters started doing that shit. They'd have 3 experiments and they'd start all 3 of them and finish none of them all at the same. Like, fuck that. I don't got time for that. That's too much like work, and I'm not getting paid for that crap. This is dark tone. We'll put it over here because we're gonna need some. Actually, let's hit the dark tone first. We're gonna come over here to the chain gun for the dark tone, and let's use a bigger brush for this. What the hell just, oh, this figures, okay. Yeah, so we're gonna tone this down a little bit. But yeah, so much of their stuff is, those guys did not like being filmed. One of the guys was okay with it. The other guys are like, and it's funny because that's the one thing about TV is you feel like you know, and I think that's why people really like movie stars and things like that, because you invite them. I don't really care about them, right? We're weird people, and then they get around other weird people and become even more weird. But you invite them into your house, right? You're watching them on your own screen, so you feel like you've got some kind of a relationship with them, I guess. And you think that's how they are in real life, but that's just the character that they play. Like, I would like to think that if you met me in person, I would be the same person. I'm not trying to be different. It's too much work to be somebody that you're not, you know? My dad would watch the one about illegal racing, and I would mess with him because he really thought they were filming illegal racings. I didn't know they had that. I didn't know they had illegal races or illegal racing thing. Let's make this pop a lot. Right? We haven't done, this is something that we would have done initially, but these parts weren't on the car initially. So let's create these little shadows, these extra shadows that are going to be on here. Have all these little details and all these nooks and crannies stand out so you can see them 2 or 3 feet away. The sculptor was nice enough to put these on here. It's your job to make sure that people can see them. There's little rivets on here. I mean, you got to make people see the little rivets. Otherwise, why they even bother putting the rivets on here? Okay. Real world. That was another one. I can't imagine being on a fucking real world, especially now. All these tender people. It's all tender people and whores. That's all everybody is. Fuck TV. I don't watch it. You watch YouTube. Absolutely, my friend. That's true. And I'm not saying you need to watch my stuff. There's some really good stuff out there. There's some really good stuff out there. You can watch it whatever you want. You can watch however many episodes you want. And there's lots of creators. Reality show about illegal races. But of course, they get permission to race and film there. It's called Street Outlaws. Yeah, I don't watch TV anymore. I mean, I watch some with the family, but very little of it. Very, very little of it. Okay, back to dripping land. All right, I like to mix these colors. In what proportion? I don't fucking know. I'm like a baker, and I'm just grabbing ingredients. Fucking more paprika, whatever. Yeah, so one of the guys on the Little War stuff is really good, like high quality. But one of the guys on Little Wars, I think the quality of his acting is as good as any. I mean, he should be on TV. He's really good. I'm not going to tell you who it is, but he's pretty good. He's not like that in real life. Just say that. So I don't know how edited it is, but this guy's like, I think, professional level. Um, and the one guy that we did do an interview with is one of the guys that I didn't think had that good of a demeanor on the programming, and he was a generally nice guy. So I might be the opposite. Like, man, you're really good on your show. You meet me in real life. I'm like, yeah, that guy's a dick. Yeah. It's not intentional to be that way, but sometimes things don't translate well. Oh yeah, we get this rusty, grimy. The way I rationalize it is whatever world this is, and I'm definitely not playing the guy. I do not like the Gaslands fluff, according to the rules, right? But whatever world this is, can we just agree that acid rain is, or no, let's just say a harsh environment is a reality here. So stuff is going to rust and not be taken care of, fall to shit faster than normal. So with that said, we're going to have, rustification happening in places that, you probably wouldn't. There's probably not an EPA. Etc. Let me see if I can get away with doing some rustiness around. I mean, I love doing this because it allows you to enhance the details that are already here. Now, this part underneath here, wherever this big ass gun underneath this door, there's probably a lot of rainwater that catch. I mean, if it ever rains in this environment, you never know. There's probably a lot of it that catches here, and this shit just drips on down. And of course, it's smoke flavored. So we need to have that kind of shit like that. All right. So what's the situation with this trunk here? Well, I don't know. It likes to rust over here, and then the rust comes and drips down, and maybe some of it drips there. Now, there happens to be a corrosion issue, a corrosion problem on the front here. And of course, if you have that happening, as soon as it hits this, it's going to drip down. Creating my little fluff backstory on why this thing is dirty in the places that it's dirty. Same thing on this door. This looks like it's all rusty, and you know what? It is. I mean, I really like doing this part. It's giving it personality. I'm going to get going and catch you later. All right, man. Thanks for stopping by as always. Need to get one of them Godzilla cars for you. One of them Skylines. I forget which one's supposed to be the Godzilla. R34, R32, R33, one of those. I forget which is the one that I really like. Knowing me, it's probably the earliest one. I like them blocky. I like me some blocky cars. I like me some. I'll take things I say, but I would never write in an email. All right, same thing with the front, except up here, whatever metal this is made out of, this is going to be corrosion center. Well, I don't know if you're texting me on the phone. I don't really know who it is. Let's see what we got here. Something about revenue sharing. I don't know. Look, I don't do this for the money. The fact that this can generate any kind of stuff, it's just money I can put back into buying cars or, equipment, whatever. I would do this for free. I wouldn't do it if it cost me money. Like if you want to film videos, it's going to, cost you a certain amount. I wouldn't do it then. Right. But, it's not like I'm doing this for a living. The people that do this kind of videos for a living, they really have to whore themselves out. And I'm not willing to do that kind of crap. Like I'm going to be who I am. If you like it, that's cool. If you don't, well, we can still be friends, whatever. Don't watch my shit. I'm doing this hobby and I'm doing this hobby and I'm showing you this hobby. Well, actually, I'm doing this hobby, so I don't have to be an alcoholic like the rest of everybody to de-stress from their work. This is my de-stress and showing you guys should not create any extra problems. And if it does, well, then I'm not going to do it. I'm not doing this to be famous or, I appreciate you guys that are, loyal followers. And hopefully, if anything, you can, I've gotten a lot of ideas from other people on the internet. And the least I can do is like pass that on, you know. It's like volunteering, nobody else gets to decide what you volunteer for, right? It's like, hey, I want you to do this and do this and do the other thing. I'm like, no, how about let people that are volunteering decide what they're going to fucking do? All right, there's a little bit of a slope this way. So I say some of the drippings went like that. Okay. And then maybe they pooled a little bit here. I mean, I really like doing this part. All right. Let's say this engine is not really well maintained. So we've got some stains of different stuff. People seem to really like the cars that look really cantankerous. I don't like vehicles that you can't tell what the core vehicle is. So if you're building something on, say, a Mustang, you need to be able to tell that it's a Mustang still. That's my personal take on it. That's my preference. I think the cars are cool anyways. There's no point in taking that away from it. Now, we don't have any of these drippings on the underside, which would be McNasty. So let's go ahead and add this McNastiness to it. Okay. And when we seal this, all the shininess will all even itself out. So it'll look better. Not that it looks bad at this point, but it'll look even better. I mean, this little hatch on the top looks fucking stellar. See if I can zoom in. You guys want me to zoom in on this thing? Let's zoom in on this thing. I think the camera angle is here. I'm glad I'm able to film this not in reverse. I find it really annoying that sometimes you got to see things in reverse. What can we put this thing on where you guys can see it? Let's do this. I think we can. Now I do need to do the rear headlamps, which right now are just metallic color, just a little bit of red. And this thing should be good to go. This thing should be good to go. Unless I want to screw with the color of the chain gun anymore. I think we got it. We're relatively happy with it. Oh. All right, let's get some red out here. I mean, if I was doing figures, if I was doing 15 millimeter stuff, this would basically be my journey through painting one guy. Instead, we painted the whole vehicle. Like, one vehicle is a lot more useful than one guy. you know, if you're doing something like DVA or even 20 millimeter stuff, 20 millimeter World War II, what's one guy going to make a difference? Well, it could be a scenario about that one guy, but these things paint a hell of a lot quicker. I'm not painting them, I'm enhancing them. How about that? The guys that actually do all this work are kind of the unsung heroes. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead, we're going to glue that armor plate on the front. I decided that I liked it. And I want to do it in a way that I'm not going to fuck up anything else that I've done. So I think I'm going to use a hot glue gun. You know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to end up getting that everywhere. Let's use a slow acting super glue. Let's see what the back of this looks like. Okay, I'm going to put one. I'm going to put some here. This stuff is kind of like the consistency of honey. It does get a wee bit stringy. I'm going to use the end of this. And I'm going to put some glue dots along the edge of here. And hopefully there'll be enough of them that'll hold this thing in place. And then when we lay this thing on, we have some time to adjust this. Because with the super glue, you're like fucking done. Like you put it in the wrong place, done. And then after we got this in place, we'll probably put glue down here at the bottom. But it's kind of hard to judge at what point it's going to hit the trunk or the hood. Okay, so I like it like that. Okay, and that's it done. So thanks for stopping by, folks. Don't forget to give me a like and subscribe if that's what you're interested in, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.